We're informed that Buick's new mission is giving help to the underserved. Buick delegates close by at the early on-drive occasion for the new Regal TourX utilized the word more than once as they portrayed their mean to offer vehicles and specialties disregarded by different carmakers, as though the brand now works as something of a non-governmental alleviation association. Who could have realized that the Cascada isn't only a convertible for warm climate rental armadas, yet a beneficent endeavor? Buick's most recent vehicle for social equity is subsequently this off-roady-looking all-wheel drive station wagon that desires a Taurus Subaru Outback. It's not. The Regal TourX has only 5.8 crawls of ground freedom, contrasted and the Subaru's 8.7, so General Motors utilized a lot of intense-looking dark cladding. Thus you can't miss it. This plastic likewise broadens high over the wheel wells, looking as affected on the TourX as it does on the also dressed Audi A4 Allroad or Volvo V60 Cross Country. Buick reps point to the Audi as a contender, with the exception of that the minimal A4 is very nearly 10 inches shorter and an entire class littler than the medium-size, 196.3-inch Regal wagon. The Audi likewise is impressively more costly, with an egotist request expanded beginning cost in the mid-$40,000 territory contrasted with only $29,995 for the Buick. The single TourX display accessible at that mentally fulfilling, sub-$30,000 cost has fabric situates and is accessible in any shading you need as long as it's white, silver and dark are additional cost alternatives. Settling on the mid-run preferred trim to get a power driver's seat and a genuine shading palette sends the MSRP into the mid-$30,000s, and on the off chance that you need a first-class Essence, with cowhide and accessible propelled security hardware, for example, path-keeping help and robotized crisis braking, the cost is nearer to $40,000. Be that as it may, a $29,995 risk puts Buick at exactly the point on the esteemed guide to endeavor to pull in standard purchasers, which gets at the foundation of Buick's underserved gambit. Buick reps spun us a story of hardship, portraying the situation of station wagon proprietors whose producers have deserted the section. For absence of a legitimate substitution, these poor people have subsequently been compelled to clutch their old autos any longer than they needed to. We're envisioning individuals plummeting on their Buick merchants who as of now drive mid-90s vintage Honda Accord wagons with miserably rusted back wheel curves and Toyota Camry wagons from a similar time with raised suspensions that have fell, presumably from the heaviness of that additional back wiper. Maybe exchanges would incorporate even a couple of Saab SportCombis or Chevrolet Malibu Maxxes too. We don't know we get tied up with this any more than we envision a situation in which Buick takes clients from Audi. However, the bigger point is as yet legitimate. The Regal TourX sits unequivocally between conventional European extravagance wagons, for example, the Allroad and the previously mentioned and more moderate Outback, which opens at just $26,810. The TourX is fueled by GM's recognizable turbocharged 2.0-liter inline-4, a motor that shows up in various GM items, including the current Malibu. The Malibu imparts its engineering to the Europe Showcase Opel insignia, which is the reason for the TourX and the new Regal Sportback. Here the Turbo 4 makes 250 pull and 295 pounds-to-foot of torque, encouraged through an 8-speed programmed transmission that can be physically moved. On paper, this powertrain mix looks incredible, far outpacing Subaru's pallid normally suctioned 2.5-liter 4 and notwithstanding contrasting positively with its accessible 6-barrel Demonstrate, which likewise is a close $40,000 recommendation. Also, obviously, both of the Outback's motors are saddled with a ceaselessly factor-programmed transmission. In reality, in any case, the TourX feels slow, with a lethargic throttle adjustment that requires pushing past mid-pedal stroke to awaken the turbocharger. Consolidate this with a transmission that shifts listlessly, liking to remain in a high rigging and carry the motor, and it's anything but difficult to perceive any reason why this Aisin-sourced gearbox is as of now slated for substitution at an unspecified future date with a GM-created 9-speed unit. Buick made a similar move in the LaCrosse this year. The TourX and LaCrosse have different likenesses, for example, firm and responsive brake pedals and a refined all-wheel drive framework, which is standard on the wagon. Buick utilizes 2 electronically controlled grasps at the back, a plan that permits a solitary back wheel with footing to move the vehicle regardless of whether the other 3 wheels are turning. This is especially valuable in frosty conditions and is with regards to the character of the TourX, in which all-wheel drive is proposed more to conquer severe climate than rough terrain trails. Our involvement with the drive occasion in Sedona, Arizona, demonstrated its delicate suspension was equipped for taking care of rock streets in any event, and in addition, say, a Toyota Camry. We say the Camry not on account of it has a similar ground leeway as the TourX, and not on account of it's the top-of-the-line auto in the United States, but since it speaks to what is maybe the best test to Buick. Most standard brands offer everything that close extravagance or premium ones do. The inside of the TourX is a sufficiently decent place, large and common for the most part, charming put something aside for the confined center back seat. The front seats appear like Saab remains, agreeable yet firm and perfect for the sorts of long interstate trudges the TourX appears to be most appropriate for. Its dash is finished with a 7.0 or 8.0-inch touchscreen, with plastic intended to look like cowhide, or possibly less hard plastic, and trimmed with imperative phony wood and gleaming bits. However, the TourX Lodge isn't generally any more pleasant than that of a high-zoot Camry, even in our test auto, which was a completely stacked Essence trim. At over $40,000, this wagon still had its freight zone fixed with a kind of cheap cover that is more fitting for a rental auto trunk, and its beige tone didn't keep it from being effortlessly dirtied by the main heap of bags we stowed. All things considered, the wagon's payload hold is the place the TourX best vindicates itself. It is disseminated uniquely in contrast to in and out back, with 33 cubic feet behind the back seats, 3 cubic feet less than the Subaru, or 74 cubic feet with those seats collapsed, 1 cubic foot more than the Outback. The collapsing seats, split 60-40 in the base and preferred trims, however 40/20/40 in the Essence, lay flawlessly level, making it less demanding to stack substantial things. For the mountain bicycle or kayaking swarm that needn't bother with the Outback's ground leeway, the low tallness of a rooftop-mounted rack is as much an offering point as the TourX's accessible sans hands control liftgate. For the individuals who need a greater wagon instead of a hybrid to transport their life's wants or waste, the TourX is an appreciated choice and an update that occasionally it's alright for energetic to depict what you expect to do with an auto, as opposed to the auto itself. The inquiry that exclusive 1 year from now's business numbers can answer is whether there is a business opportunity for this nearly extravagance, nearly wilderness romper station wagon at a nearly reasonable cost. On the off chance that our involvement in Sedona were to exclusively illuminate our answer, we'd need to react in the agreed. That place is swarming with both mountain bikers and old individuals driving gradually. The Regal TourX appears to be intended to speak to both. Buick, as far as it matters for its, as of now, is overhauling its business gauges upward for the TourX.